So first of all, I'm sorry. I know I haven't released this video and it's been like 3 weeks ever since I released the long form video. And I know I didn't release a video breaking down the most important episode, which is episode 8. So let's get into it, okay? Expect videos to return on a weekly basis though, okay? But yeah, so this episode 8, starts off with the Legion camp as we finally get to see the ending impact of what the Ghoul did starting that civil war. And it finally ends with Macaulay Culkin grabbing the dead body of Caesar and opening the note, learning that Caesar basically just wrote down, the Legion dies with him, and he is the only Caesar, and there will never be another one. Now, Macaulay Culkin eats this note, and then proclaims himself as the Caesar, and starts heading towards Vegas, and that's pretty much it for the Legion this episode. Now, we actually get a cut back over to Mr. House to see what is going on with him and the Ghoul. And we learn that Mr. House did try to stop Vault-Tec and the Enclave from getting territory in Vegas and try to defend Vegas himself by making all those nuclear weapons. Now, obviously, Vault-Tec still had a building. They actually built it underneath the vault that's already on the strip and made it an executive place for him. He couldn't get any of his main controls down there. But there is a back way, and the Ghoul decides to take a Pip-Boy that Mr. House gives him so Mr. House can talk to him on the way to open up that back door to get inside that facility in exchange for Cooper not killing him. But let's move on to see what's going on with Maximus. Turns out he is fighting Deathclaws on the strip. It is not going well for him, but he is holding his own, while the citizens of Freeside are betting on whether he lives or dies. Thaddeus is with the citizens, but they're more just at an observing point just to see what is going to happen here. We then get a cut over to Lucy as we get to see her with the Mesmetronic head senator lady, and she explains that it is actually very painful for her to be in this state, and she doesn't want to live anymore. So she asked Lucy to kill her. So Lucy doesn't really want to kill her, but she ends up doing so because it is just the better solution to kill the senator. Finally, after all these years. So we finally get to catch up to Norm, and Norm and his friend are in a very particular situation as the Vault-Tec employees want to kill Norm and his friend. Now, obviously, they need to figure out some place to do this. They aren't just going to bash his head. They're probably going to try to throw him into the elevator shaft with all the rad roaches. The issue is, the rad roaches jump back out and attack all the vault dwellers there. I cannot show images of this. It is disgusting. But basically, what you need to know is Norm and his vault friend live. That's it. And then it cuts back over to the Ghoul talking to Mr. House on the Pip-Boy as he goes through all the winding corridors to get to the back room of that Vault-Tec executive building. And we get to learn that the reason why all the Deathclaws are on the strip is because of the Enclave. The Enclave did something to them at Quarry Junction that sent them to the strip to go and defend the executive building so Hank can finish the experiment for the Mesmetronic-like device. And I think that's really cool. I point this out in a theory, and I'm so happy it was confirmed. But moving on, we get to see how Maximus is doing, and it is not good. He is currently winding down some of his power, the armor's starting to break, but he's still holding his own. He just needs some help from other people. Meanwhile, the Freeside residents are still betting on whether he'll live or die, and Thaddeus, in a heroic moment, decides to bet 500 caps on his survival. But then he also leaves to go help Maximus, which is very good as he needs some help. And then quickly moving back over to Lucy, Lucy is still trying to find the good in her dad. She is trying to negotiate and see if he is like completely evil. He is completely evil, and he is trying to threaten to kill her right now. And not trying, he is literally trying to kill her now. But as Lucy's dad approaches her, it cuts back over to the Ghoul, and the Ghoul is talking to Mr. House, and it cuts to a pre-war scene where we get to see what happened after the last episode where he was talking to the president. It turns out the president sent the Enclave to go and collect Cooper Howard because he is a communist and he betrayed the United States. Now, before this, Mr. House called Cooper to let him know it's not him doing this. It's the other group that he was trying to warn Cooper about that he should have listened to him about, but he didn't. So now he's arrested and he is labeled as a Pinky. But in a conversation prior, we get to learn that Stephanie is now married to Hank. So yes, in the canon relationship is actually Stephanie and Hank are married together. That was a twist I was not expecting to happen. Now we're actually gonna have a quick cut back over to Maximus as we get to see him getting tuned up by a Deathclaw. But thank goodness for Thaddeus walking outside as he shoots that Deathclaw, allowing Maximus to get back up and continue the fight just for a little bit longer. Now, let's cut back over to the Ghoul and Lucy. Now, Hank's father walks up to Lucy and he wants to put a tiny mesmetronic-like device on the back of her neck that's not even recognizable by the eye. And he already says that there's actually a few of these already out in the wasteland that you just can't tell who is under mind control, which is really scary and definitely going to be a plot point for season 3, okay? And I think that's really cool. I really do like that idea of you just can't tell who's under the mind control and who isn't. That will be a really cool twist. And something I will be highlighting in the top 10 things to remember video I will be making soon. But before this happens, the Ghoul walks in and shoots the main Legion guy that's holding Lucy and shoots the leg of Hank to get him down. And then he lets Lucy decide what she wants to do to her father as he walks away to go figure out where his wife and daughter are after all this time. Now, after seeing Maximus getting tuned up, a few of the Freeside residents, including the bartender for the Atomic Wrangler, decide to grab weapons and try to rally support to go help Maximus. But unfortunately, during this time, Maximus's NCR power armor gets broken. It's fully done. So he decides to grab a roulette table and a weapon and just head out onto the street and try to defend it the best he could, with Thaddeus giving firing support. Now, Thaddeus is in the middle of reloading when another Deathclaw starts charging at Maximus, but something else shoots it. It wasn't Thaddeus, it wasn't Maximus. It turns out it's an NCR Elite Ranger with an anti-material rifle, and they give you a perfect, almost one-for-one recreation of the trailer for Fallout New Vegas as he shoots another Deathclaw in the face. And I love that they did this. I know it's fan service. It's good though, okay? It's peak. Why criticize it, okay? But the NCR decides to show up, and obviously and unfortunately we are not going to get the giant NCR Legion battle this season, but the first episode of the next season is going to be killer with it. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen though until then. But the NCR is there in the strip. There's a bunch of them now, and I'm really happy to see the NCR, and I think one of the side plots that will be happening alongside all the seasons of Fallout is the NCR casually rebuilding themselves to the point of where they were before the destruction of Shady Sands. And I really hope that is what is true and what is happening, as I would love that to happen. But let's move on to Lucy and her dad. Now, Lucy and her dad decide to walk to the surface. Obviously, Hank's leg is doing a little bit better. He's able to walk on it. But he explains that there's a bunch of people that are in control of the Enclave, and they now have his mesmetronic-like device that's fully done and fully complete after all the experimentation, and it's basically pointless trying to resist. And she doesn't want to kill him, so what he does in the last second is activate the device and basically turn himself into a blank slate, a zombie, a just working man, and just kind of wander off onto the strip. And it is a really touching moment, and they did a really good job with it. Personally, I like this whole kind of strip design here. Just going to sidetrack for a second. They designed the strip really well, and out of all the game adaptation shows, they did a really good job this season with all the sets. But let's go back over to this scene. Lucy and Maximus finally see each other after all this time, and they hug, and they're probably going to stay together for at least season 3, and grouped up together helping each other out as they go back into the Lucky 38. Now, unfortunately, from here on out, the rest of this episode is just build up for season 3 and stuff that's going to happen. There wasn't a lot of time left when this, basically at this point, there was about 15 minutes, but quickly breaking it down, Stephanie opens up the case that we've been wondering what's been inside this entire season, and I was very wrong. It turns out it was an Enclave-themed Pip-Boy, which, by the way, looks amazing. I will be picking that up. I know it's like a basic repaint and redesign to it. I just like the look of it. It looks way cooler. But she picks up the Pip-Boy and says, Stephanie McLean, reporting into the Enclave, activate Phase 2. And the iBot that we saw in the first season from the Enclave base that we now know is in Colorado activates Phase 2. Now, we don't know exactly what Phase 2 is. I have a few theories. I'm going to be making a giant video on it. Basically, I'm guessing Phase 2 is just the deployment of a lot of Enclaves, so you'll be seeing them, and the activation of the Supermutant projects they've been working on. And we got to see a little bit of that in Fallout Season 1. But moving on, we get to see Lucy and Maximus look on the strip as a bunch of stuff's happening. We get to see the Legion forces moving onto the strip. We get to see everyone just kind of start building up for that. We get to see the ghoul find his family, and he sees a postcard in Colorado, so he starts heading that way to go find the Enclave base, which rumored has it Vault Zero is there from Fallout Tactics, so there's a bunch of stuff, but basically, it's all teeing up for Season 3. And there isn't a lot of stuff to break down from that, as it just, hey, they're heading to Colorado. Lucy and Maximus are going to be staying on the Strip, and they are going to be helping out with the NCR and Freeside residents versus the Legion, which will be an awesome start to next season. As Cooper heads to go fight the Enclave, and we get to see Norm and his friend that are still alive after all the Vault Tech employees were killed by the Radaroaches start heading back to the Vault to go help evacuate that Vault 32 and Vault 33. But what do you guys think about this season? I wish there was more. This episode, for being a really good final, I felt was just a lot of buildup for Season 3, and as I really would have loved to see the NCR versus Legion battle that happened. Now, supposedly, they actually already filmed this when they had all the people there, so there was a few leaked images of it. Nothing crazy, nothing over the top, but I can't wait to see it happen. What do you guys think about this season? Please let me know in the comments, and if there's any ways I can improve these YouTube videos, please let me know, and thank you so much for all your support.